Today on Metcast, I'm joined by Brandon Tierney at WFAN. We're going to break down all the latest in regard to the New York Mets and the Yankees hot stove. What's happening with Bellinger, Pete Alonso, Edwin Diaz? Could there be a big guy coming to New York for both teams, which is a fit? I'm going to bring it to you live next on Metcast. What's going on, Mets fans? Welcome back to another edition of Metcast. Always, I am Ray, and today I'm joined by Brandon Tierney. While you're in getting settled in, make sure you like and subscribe, turn those notifications on, and consider becoming a member. Our membership group and community is growing so big, and if you want to get involved, just become a member. But with that said, BT, thanks so much for coming on.
It is my pleasure. I like the open. A little Tom Seaver, a little David Wright. Good, looks good.
Absolutely. Got to go with the old and the new. Look, I didn't get to see Seaver. Got to see, a lot of the highlights and stuff, unfortunately, but Steve Cohen finally did the right thing by them, retiring and everything. The statue, you know how it is with that. But that took way too long. But with that said, let's dive right into it. The rumors are out there. Heyman reported it. The New York Mets could potentially be involved in your boy Cody Bellinger of all guys. We know the Yankees want him. The Mets want him. The projections could be anywhere around 6 years, $180 million, about $30 million a year. The versatility, we've all heard about it. Center field, first base, left, right, crazy good athlete. Would be a massive upgrade when we listen to David Stearns talk about defense and run prevention. And for me, when I hear things like that, I'm like, to me, is he signaling something to us? What are your thoughts on him for the Mets and you guys retaining him as the Yankees?
I think it's paramount the Yankees keep him, and I think it's paramount the Mets try to get him. I think he is really – I think he's the most outside of getting pitching. I'm going to put like a Skubal trade or maybe a Valdez because obviously the Mets definitely need pitching. But like from the Mets' point of view, he changes what they could do the entire offseason. And I know we'll get to Pete, but let's just say you get Bellinger in the fold before a decision's reached with Pete. And let's say Pete bounces. Boom, you got your first baseman. Let's say you get Bellinger, Pete stays. Boom, you got your center fielder. Or if you want to, and Sal and I have talked about this, I don't know that the Mets would have the appetite to do this. I would explore it. You could trade Nimmo or try to. Maybe eat some of that contract. You could put Bellinger in left field. See, when you look at the big names, whether it's a Tucker, whether it's a Bichette, whether it's a Schwarber, whether it's a Bregman, and Bregman's a great fielder, as we know, but the versatility, the roster versatility, and really the ability to help you win, even if you go 0 for 4, Bellinger checks every box. So if the Yankees lose him, it's a crusher. And if the Mets get him, it's a massive win. I don't think the Mets will get him, but the fact that they're trying, they should be.
Let me ask you about this, though, and I don't hear a lot of Met fans or fans in general bring this up. For me, Bellinger also with the bat, he's so hot and cold. Do you ever go down his stat line? It's great. Okay. Great. Okay. Great with the Yankees. Is he going to go back down to a 250 hitter, 20 home runs, or is this what he is going forward? What are we expected? We've seen, and I can't believe I have to say this as a Mets fan. The last thing I ever want to do is say something good about the New York Yankees. Sometimes those pinstripes turn players into what they're not. A la Carpenter a couple of years ago, the guy looked like reincarnated Dave Ruth. Where the hell did this guy come from?
I mean, hold on, just a quick aside, and I'll answer that about his trajectory as a hitter, what I think it might be here, because it is a lot to piece together and extrapolate and whatever. But this is the problem, and I say this with a smile, but this is the problem with you Met fans. Like, I can come on here, I can talk on the fan, and I can talk objectively, and it doesn't hurt me to talk about the Mets. Anytime the Met fans got to talk about the Yankees, there's a little dagger, there's a little zing. I know the game by now, so it's all good. So I'm obviously having fun with you. Listen, I don't think you'll ever see the valley with Bellinger that you saw years ago with the Dodgers. His shoulder was jacked up. Yeah. His shoulder was a wreck. And I think it really messed with his mechanics. And I think when you know it hurts, you try to guess and you try to anticipate stuff and you kind of get out of the realm of what made him an MVP, quite frankly. I think his swing is absolutely built better for the Bronx than Queens. But, I think that Bellinger minimally settles into the, minimally 260 something range, low 20 something home run range, 18 to 20 steal range on a good team, depending upon where he's hitting. Like if he's behind Soto, or well, I mean, you probably have him in front of Soto, especially if Pete's back. It could be 80 to 100 ribbies and Gold Glove defense. So to me, there's no buyer beware tag. He's a gamer. He could play anywhere in the outfield. He's a terrific first baseman, and he's handled LA. He's handled the Bronx. He's handled Chicago. So it's not a worry about will it translate to the big stage. He's just a gamer. I am, one thing. Sal said this a long time ago, and he's right. He said the Mets need more ball players, like just baseball players. If you think about what Bellinger is, he could throw, he could catch, he could run, he's got power. He generally plays every day, and he can really hit anywhere in the lineup. Whereas with the Mets, it's like, all right, Pete's got power, not a good first baseman. McNeil, a little bit up and down. Alvarez, who is he? Nimmo's got a noodle arm in the outfield. Soto, deficient, not horrible, but deficient defensively. Whereas Bellinger, there's not a glaring weakness. I mean, I'm a massive, I was always a fan. And then seeing him play every single day for the Yankees, he's just a ball player, man. Yankees
sound just like Scott Boras today. Did you hear him?
Yeah.
the 5-tool player, the only 5-tool, which he's got a point out there.
Not wrong.
You could fight the speed a little bit, the injuries, whatever. But look, he's a bowler. We all know that. My biggest fear, and this is where we could lead to Pete Alonso as well. I feel like Bellinger is a bowler. Yes. Is he a top 15 bowler in the outfield? I would fight against that. And if you put him at first base, that might even hurt his value even more. I think he's going to get overpaid. I just do. When you look at Team Sal, BT, sorry, excuse me.
It's all good.
That happens all the time.
We get that one.
When
the other day, by the way, the other day at the Jets game, guy comes up. I think he was a little nervous. He's like, "Yo, Sal, love the show. I get it. We're bold, but that's it. I mean, come on, man. Anyway, keep going. About maybe being overpaid with Bellinger.
Sure, yeah. Well, my thing is this. You see the Dodgers have all the money come off the books. There's a lot of talk about, like, now we're seeing reports of Edwin Diaz. They're potentially involved there, which, of course, we all love to see that as Mets fans because they have, $86-87 million coming off the books this year. They're going to go all in because they see what's going to happen in 27. Something's going to happen with no longer allowed to defer players. We all see the writings on the wall. So I see a lot of these teams, the Yankees, Mets, Red Sox, LA, potentially the Giants, maybe even the Brewers finally get involved, open up their pockets. Seattle.
It's Seattle for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Finally put that big step forward to say, we're going to go for it in 27. And when I look around baseball, I could see somebody massively overpaying for Bellinger because, let's be honest, there's not a ton of Swift Army knives out there. Met fans, look, and I try to keep it a buck here. Stop comparing what McNeil could do in the outfield to what Cody Bellinger could do.
Oh, it's not
even David
close.
Stearns said it today.
The
game
Stearns.
plan, which I think was a very dumb thing to say, and maybe you don't think so. You can let me know. But to come out and say we don't want to have McNeil play in the outfield as much, we don't want to expose him, yada yada. I'm like, wait a sec. We're trying to trade this guy. You shouldn't be saying things like that. It should be, we feel 100% comfortable with him out there. But by him admitting that tells you the issue that they're having, and the Mets having a need out there. Obviously, I know. Look, David Stearns trying to sell his Tyrone Taylor today. I was dying laughing out there. But we have a need out there. You could say Boston could be in that market. Toronto could be in that market. There's a lot of teams out there. The Yankees, obviously, you have the teams in the West that could be in the market. I could see him getting vastly overpaid by a team saying, well, we could play him in left, center, or right, and somebody gets injured in the infield, we'll throw him at first base.
Yeah, but hold on a second. That shouldn't concern you guys. You got Steve Cohen.
I know.
I mean, so let's go back. Let Cohen buys the team. And, he's going to do this. And by the way, he's done so many good things. Even like the Kuzman, the statue of Seaver, so many things that matter to the Met fans. The experience in the stadium, it's top. I like Citi Field quite a bit. It's just a good vibe. So he's done his job. He just hasn't delivered a World Series yet. But if we're talking about, the potential of Bellinger getting overpaid, all right, even whether it's AAV and it's $3 or $4 million more a year, or in totality, it's 30, 40, or $50 million more. You got 40,000 people in the building every night because of Juan Soto now. So you're going to make that money back. So, and then I don't.
Jersey sales.
For sure. This all matters. If the concern here is, well, I don't know if he's a good fit, or in Pete's case, how was he going to age? Those are all fair questions. And again, I know we'll get to Pete. I can't wait to talk about Pete more thoroughly here.
Oh,
That
yeah.
fan's gonna jump all
I know
over.
you're a big fan.
Well, I am, and I'm not. So I don't be a wise guy. No, but like to me, there's no concern with Bellinger imploding in New York or just being woefully deficient in a certain area of the game. So if that's the case, and we all know it is, then what the hell's the difference? You got Steve Cohen. They're the second wealthiest team. The Rogers Center, the Toronto Blue Jays ownership is actually more affluent, if you could believe it. But, right there with the Dodgers, and obviously Cohen. So he's got the checkbook to absorb it. Big deal. You want to win a World Series, or do you not?
Yeah, I agree. And look, we'll get to pitching in a minute, but that's what brings me to Pete. And I said it. Your boy Hoff said it on here. I've been saying it for 2 months. I don't see Pete coming back. I just don't. Let's be honest. Last year, what happened, BT, Stearns was not 1,000% running the show, in my opinion. I think Steve Cohen got involved. Shout out to Steve. I know, fan of the show. I appreciate it, Steve.
Is he really? Nice.
I don't think that he necessarily is in love with him. We saw the smile today. Everybody making fun. Oh, yeah, we would love to have Pete back. Yeah. Well, if you love him so much, maybe you would have given him a longer-term offer last season. And now he's another year older. And you're talking about, look, I heard Sal today. I wrote this down because I had a little nitpick with him. He's like, just give him the big offer up front. The 6 years, $180 million, BT. I'm like, whoa, who's giving him 5 years at $30 million a year right now? I got to see that team first. You're telling me last year, and this is my big gripe that I have, and big thing you can't happen. You can't have it drag out like it did last year. But last year, BT,
and by the way, that was Sal's point to not have it drag out. But
I get that, but I'm not going to massively look. I don't care about the money.
6 years.
It's the
years.
Way. You can't have a guy $30 million a season at 34, 35, and 36 only being able to DH. Plus, one thing Met fans, BT, and I know you know this, one thing we love to skip over. Brandon Nimmo has plantar fasciitis that is not going away. He's got 5 years and 100 million smackers left on that contract. Your DH is in place, and he's a damn good hitter. Go look. He's a 25 home run machine, mid-on base guy. He's a pretty damn good player. But that's what brings me to that point where it's like, you want to give Alonso 3 years, 4 years, 120? We could talk. But even Joe DeMayo, the biggest guy, one of the biggest guys on SNY, said right here, he's like, I wouldn't go beyond 4. And he's the first guy to bring it up. 5 years, you let him go. I don't care who it's to, which blew me away. Where do you stand with that with the Mets and Pete Alonso?
Okay, so the first thing about Stearns, I don't want to hear what you say. I want to see what you do. And the fact that Pete Alonso barely signed by Valentine's Day, when pitchers and catchers are already basically heading out of Port St. Lucie, told me all I needed to know. Now, the Fan Fest, whatever they call that thing last year, which seemed to be pretty good. I know Met fans enjoyed that. I just forget what they call it. Fanatics.
Amazing day.
There you go.
Yes,
Thank you. I always mess it up with that. I always mess it up.
And Pete Alonso's jersey was 50% off.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
It was.
Well, this year it's going to be 90% off when he's gone. But no, here's my opinion. Here's my opinion on Pete. So last year, I think sentimentality played. All right. I don't think Stearns wanted him for all the reasons that I tend to agree with, which I can elaborate on in a minute. I think that Cohen stepped in. He listened to the fans, and I got no problem with that because it wasn't the wrong time to do it. To do that again would be wrong. If you hire David Stearns to build this into a championship team, you've got to let him make these big decisions. You can't be up his ass, all right? So we know Pete's going to bang 35 home runs with his eyes shut. Everybody knows that. And the fact that he bounced back from an average point of view is reassuring, and I think should make a better market for him this offseason. But let me ask you this, right? So I know it's scoop rate. And listen, I played first.
Don't give me that crap. I'm so tired of hearing about that.
I'm not saying I was anything special, but I played first base in college. So when you talk scoop rate, I mean, I'm all like, I love that stuff. Like, to me, I would hope my shortstop would throw it in the dirt. Like, I love picking balls, right? And I appreciate a first baseman who could do it. And he does it very well. And the advanced analytics with the scoop rate obviously backs that up. But let me ask you this. 7th inning against the Dodgers, against the Brewers, against the Phillies, against the Braves, against the Padres. Man on first base, ground ball, 3-6-3 double play. You want Pete making that? No, you don't. How about a ball down the right field line? You got a long cut from Soto to Pete. You want Pete throwing a dime to home? No, you don't. How about infield in, runner on third base, less than 2 out, 1-run game, high leverage spot, ground ball to Pete. Now, if it's at him, he'll catch it. I know he will.
But he just can't hit the moving pitcher.
That, but also on a contact play, and I know you know, but a contact play is already, if you're on third base, the moment the ball's hit, no matter where it is, you're going. Whether it's a hard ground or
we saw it already.
This
pitcher, he airmailed it by 12 feet. Let's
exactly.
not forget.
Do you want Pete Alonso throwing that ball home when he throws it like a shot put? The answer is no. The answer is no. So I don't think the Mets should re-sign Pete Alonso. Now, when I say that, the next thing I get is, and I get this, but people are too locked into the emotion to get to this logical place. Because people tell me, well, how are you going to replace 40 home runs? I'm not saying you're going. Well, maybe you can with Schwarber as a DH, but whatever. I'm not even saying that. What I'm saying is you take the money, because you're not going to replace 40 home runs at first base. I know that. You go out, you take the money that you had earmarked for Pete, and you sprinkle it here, and you sprinkle it there, and you sprinkle it there. And guess what? You're going to lose your hometown hero, possibly, but you'll have a better team. So what's more important, to win a World Series or to bring back Pete? Now, if you could do both, ideally, fantastic. But there's a lot of things the Mets need to do to win a World Series. And I don't mean to talk too much, but one more thing here.
Fine.
All right, so I look at I said this today on The Fan, right? I look at the Mets, and I know that Lindor took a step back defensively. I'm not prepared to say that that's what he is. Maybe he bounces back. And we know he can hit. A little bit streaky, but whatever. Soto's a stud hitter, and Lindor's a really good hitter. And I'm putting Pete aside because I don't know if he's going to be back. Aside from those two guys, who the hell's at second? Who's at third? Who's catching? I don't love Nimmo in left. You don't have a center fielder right now. You don't have a DH. So this notion that you must bring back Pete because it's going to break up this championship core. And Sal said this years ago and got crushed for it, and he was right. And I agreed with him, all right? But when you talk about the core, the Lindors, the Petes, the Nimmos, the McNeils, what have they won? 1 year is up, then they bottom out. Then they're up, then they crash. So that is not emblematic of a team that is built to win a championship. I've got my answer. I've got my evidence. I'm changing it up.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting you say that because I've been calling on McNeil to be gone for a while. Listen to this, ready? And I'm a big advanced stat guy. OPS the last 3 years, 746, 692, 711.
That's gross.
Look, he's not some savant in the outfield. He could play center. Does it mean he's good? No, he's not good. We've watched him miss balls in the gap. He's got a worse arm than Brandon Nimmo. I'm good. And when we talk about breaking up this core, he's a part of it, and potentially Pete. And that's why also, and I'm telling you guys, from things that I've heard around last trade deadline, the Mets did not want to move off Ryan Clifford. And I'm not saying he's going to be some great player. He's got the most raw strength, high-end blue chip prospect from Houston, the Verlander trade. You saw him get boosted all the way to AAA last year. And I'm not saying he's the future of this team, but I think Stearns is saying, I need to get young here. And if I'm going to have a limited amount of resources, which we don't know what it is, but you got to get some starting pitching in here, BT.
Oh, my God.
Also, there's another player out there that we heard some news on today that could potentially be on the move. There was rumors that he would be moved during the trade deadline. And I think the Mets could put together a package. It's going to cost a ton, but it solves not just one, but two issues for the New York Mets. And that is Byron Buxton in center field. Now, hear me out. Now you have the reporting today. He's willing, or potentially willing, to get rid of his no trade. He didn't want to do it midseason, which I get
saw
it.
that.
A lot of guys don't want to move midseason, go live in someone's basement apartment. I get that.
Hotel. Yep.
Okay.
I saw that. Yep.
But he's going to be 32.
Yeah.
Now listen to this contract he's got. 3 years, only 15. He's making less than Jeff McNeil. $15 million a year for 3 years. And I understand the injury concerns, but I'm sure you'll respect this when I say it. Sometimes you got to take risk. Sometimes in baseball, you want to win it all. You put a guy out there with an 867 OPS in center field, then you could, we all know how high the Mets are on Carson Bench. We've been hearing about it forever. Former first-round pick, Oklahoma guy, big bat, lefty, everything. Maybe you have him fight it out in left a little bit. Maybe you can then move Nimmo to DH where he should be, and then you could still arguably go get a Bellinger to play first, or dare I say,
he could.
dare I say, you have Bellinger in left and Buxton in center,
Uh-huh.
Nimmo at DH, and then you fill in the first base spot internally. It allows you to spread your chips. And the second part of that trade, another player that has been rumored to be on the trade block, and it's been reported everywhere. We heard Heyman, Sherman, so it's out there. It's happening. And that's Joe Ryan. And every single advanced statistic you look at, BT, the ball shape that he has, it screams.
I know.
Stearns. Young, controllable. Gonna cost a lot. Now, this one costs a lot, but you could solve getting a front-end starter. You could still go get Framber Valdez in free agency, because we keep hearing the rumors of 2 front-end starters. That's what we keep hearing, right? Heard that today. We heard it from Heyman. So, that's where I'm looking. I'm trying to be a little creative when we think about things here.
Well, okay. So there's a lot there. Buxton, I would be interested in. Yes, I'm with you. And I did see that he would be willing, reportedly, to waive the no trade, which was a deterrent a year ago. If that goes away, that's a real viable option. I've always liked him. All right. So to me, the Skubal thing, I mean, if the Tigers trade him, and they have to, he's not staying there. He's got to be a New York Met. The Dodgers, I don't think, are going for him. All right. And I don't think.
Oh my gosh. Imagine that, BT.
No.
Blake Snell, Skubal. Like, who's Yamamoto can fit starter.
Oh, God, please. No, we don't need that. Yankees aren't going for him. Yankees aren't going for. Now, the Yankees could go for Skeens. That's a different story. But I don't think the Yankees will go for Skubal at all. They just gave free 200 plus. You got Cole coming back. You still have Rodon. You got Schlittler. You got some young guys coming up. Yanks don't need them. You guys do. Now, I'm going to paint a positive, right? 83 wins a year ago. Lackluster offense. Bullpen was a gas can. It was awful, right?
Oh.
Even with that being said, now McClain had 9 starts a year ago, right? 9. I think McClain, and one thing I'm not always right, of course, nobody is. I take a lot of pride, and baseball is my favorite sport, and I think it's the sport that I personally know the best, right? Because that's what I played the most.
Right.
I look at McClain, and to me, there is no doubt that this guy is a future all-star, Cy Young kind of guy, ace, front of the rotation guy. So even as bad as the last year was, if he makes 30 starts or 32, which top of the rotation guys do make, the Mets are a playoff team, even if they don't do anything, but if they have McClain from the start. So while there's a lot to do, maybe it's not as dire as it seems. I think the reason it seems dire, and it's fairly dire until you do stuff, but it's been the same conversation over and over, and when it's the same conversation, kind of got this way with the Knicks. And I love Tom Thibodeau, but I saw his ceiling, okay? And we'll see if Mike Brown's better, whatever. They were getting smoked. Well, do you have the Knicks score now? They were getting crushed at halftime.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Brooklyn. By the way, I don't know if you know this. I was one of your guys' first callers ever on WFAN, and I went a little Brooklyn.
I mean, dude, I wouldn't say that too loud. I mean, the Nets, as Boomer says, are the Nets in the NBA. But the point being,
oh, come on.
I looked at Tom Thibodeau as a foundation culture builder with a ceiling, all right? And this Mets team, it's the core. We talk about the same thing. We've hit the ceiling. If they don't make significant changes, I can promise you this. We will not be sitting here next summer where the Mets offense looks.
They're down 17.
It's just not. Yeah, okay. All right. They were down 20 at the half. The Mets will not take this massive jump without a massive reconstruction of who they are. They have to. This is the offseason. They've got to do it. There's no way around it.
Let me ask you a question. How do you explain what happened in September, October? David Peterson, Kodai Senga, Sean Manaea, all of these guys just went to 6 starters. How does that happen? BT, how do you explain that? How does every guy in your rotation crap the bed? All that? Look, we're like, oh, thank gosh, we have Noah McClain starting today. How many teams make the playoffs relying on rookies like that? That's insane. It's insanity.
And he answered the bell, but they even put, and I don't think it will adversely impact them moving forward, but poor Sprode and Tong were thrown in there. Like, come on, man. They weren't ready. It's not their fault.
I was there when Tong got rocked by Texas. I always sit right behind the dugout. I'm watching him walk in. He looked like a deer in the headlights. And I said it to my partner, Dan, who also does this with me. I said, he's going to get smoked. And it was what, 6 in the first?
Was that when he was crying?
You felt the nervousness in the air. DeGrom was back, all the hype. It was, you felt it in the air. And I felt bad for the kid.
Me too. Was that when he was crying after the game? I think it was. Was that the game? Okay. I still like him. I'm not going to hold that against him. All right. So let me answer your question.
I am.
Okay. I got you. Senga, Manaea,
Peterson.
Okay. So how does that happen? Well, number one, Manaea's never been an ace anywhere. I know he had a great 17-start run for the Mets when he had that new windup. But one thing that I said, and I think I may have been right, he bust out the new windup. He's got good stuff. Never had great stuff. Good. There's a difference.
Okay.
Now, you know,
92 is okay.
Exactly. 92 was great in 1987. I mean,
yeah, sure.
92 now is nothing. So, but you throw 92, 93 with a new herky-jerky windup where you can't see the ball. The hitters, this is new. They don't have a book on you. Everything looks different. Yeah. Guess what they did on Manaea during the offseason? They went to school on the new windup. And once they were able to locate the ball better and they weren't tricked as much, now it gets back to him having slightly above average stuff. So that's Manaea. I think Senga's soft. I think Senga is just not a warrior.
Been saying it for 2 years.
Yeah. I mean, he seems, I'm not going to say scared. I wouldn't do that to a pro athlete, but he doesn't seem willing to battle the way you need to battle.
He's a picker. I like to call him picker. Like he doesn't attack the zone. He gets ahead 0-2. He will throw you 3 straight balls, no matter what.
Yeah,
and that's why he's at 70 pitches in the 3rd inning.
That pitch count goes up. For sure. And Peterson, that's a little tougher to explain because I really like David Peterson. I was a big fan. About the irony is really, Holmes pitched great in that Marlins series right at the end. I mean, he was a guy that I thought was going to
the most consistent guy, 3.5 ERA.
I know. I'll tell you what I might do because this is a bigger ticket item for the Mets. I don't think that there's any chance that Diaz and Pete are back. I don't.
I agree. That's why I think Pete's gone.
Okay, I would. I'd probably let them both walk. Because haven't we learned one thing? And Diaz is really good. But the volatility of the back of a bullpen, even Devin Williams for the Yankees stunk the first couple of months, and you couldn't trust him when it mattered. Unless you're Mariano.
In the postseason.
Yeah, I know. Unless you're Mo or Eckersley with the A's or, a few of those guys. I mean, year to year, it's a little bit of a crapshoot. So I'm not giving Diaz 5 years at $100 million. I would almost rather take that. I mean, almost go get Bregman, put him at third base, trade Beatty, and a long point. Okay, well, I don't want to steal your thunder here, but
no, you're good.
I think there's a lot of ways to get creative. You could take up anywhere between $160 to $200 million for Pete, between 90 and 100 for Diaz, and you could repurpose that in a lot of interesting directions and be better.
My issue is this, and I see where you're coming from. The Mets have 2 pitchers under contract in the bullpen. One's never thrown an inning in the majors. They have 0.
Yeah.
E.T. Helsley's gone. Rogers gone. Diaz gone. Literally every person. Castillo gone. Every single person that they traded for last year is gone, and the rest were all terrible to begin with as it was. You have no stable. If we didn't have Diaz last year, we might have won 75 games.
I know.
And that's why I keep saying. And look, I'm not a fan of run it back. I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those. Everything's great in Metsland people, but I'm with you with Bregman. We keep talking about defensive runs saved, former Gold Glover, and one thing that I love about Bregman, been saying it for years, and it hurt you guys a little bit, but you got past it. He is clutch as anything in the postseason. And George Springer. If Springer doesn't get hurt, the Blue Jays win the World Series. I think there's no doubt about it. The Blue Jays win the World Series there. Some of these guys just have the it factor. And one thing that killed this team, we forget, Met fans, we love to forget. For 2 months, we couldn't score a run.
I know.
Remember, Soto was hitting $120 with runners in scoring position for a month and a half.
Oh, I'm well aware.
And I love
Soto. I was loving that. And I knew eventually he'd bust out, but I'm going to ride that train as long as I can. Here's the pitch to Soto, and he rolls it over to second. Here's the pitch to Soto, popped up the center.
Yeah, listen,
he's going to beast. I mean, at least you've issued the last thing you got to worry about is Soto hitting. But no, I mean, come on, every Yankee fan is less than truthful if they didn't say that they loved every minute of that. See, but here's the thing. Just look at the Mets infield the way it's currently constituted. Pete, deficient defender. McNeil, deficient defender. Lindor, step back. And I still think he bounces back, but he had a bad year. And Beatty's a better third baseman than Vientos by a mile. And I actually think he could become a fairly serviceable third baseman. Like one thing he does he throws on, he was a shortstop. And when you've got that kind of body control, and I saw him, where I judge a third baseman this way. How are you on the ball that's hit soft and you got to throw your right leg in the dirt and throw like kind of falling into the third base dugout? You know what I mean? And he does that well. Like
very smooth.
Yes, he's loose. He's limber. He's got a rocket. So I think he could be a really good third baseman. But you can't go into, these high leverage series. I forget the Subway series is just for the optics, but I mean September in Philly, September in Atlanta, Dodgers in the postseason with 3/4 of the infield kicking the ball around. You're not going to win.
Yep.
Can't.
Killed us. And Beatty's one of the only guys who hit down the stretch.
I like it.
Remember for that 2-week span, he was killing Philly. He was all over the place. And yes. I think one thing too, that's a good point you bring up. I would try to keep Beatty. Look, it ain't going to hold me up from getting Scooble or, dare I say, Peralta from the Brewers. But, one thing that does scare me, I am scared that, and let me know your thoughts. David Stearns had one of the biggest swing and miss off seasons that I can remember as a Mets fan in the history of my fandom. Yes, Soto, amazing. Pete, you brought him back on the 1-year deal. He kind of fell into our lap, so I have trouble with that. But Frankie Montas.
Oh, God almighty. Holy shit. Wow.
And how did the day it happened, I'm on here with there's 5,000 people in here. And I go, what did we just do? Oh, Ray, but the pitching lab. I said, but he can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
He sucked with the Yankees. He wasn't even that good with Oakland. Let's be real. No. He was okay before the Yankees traded for him. He was injured with the Brewers. He had a solid 2 weeks. We rocked the hell out of him in the postseason, but we need to guarantee him $35 million. So you have that. And then Sean Manaea, who we all knew. I said it. It's on tape. You guys can go back and look. I said, I'm not paying this guy like an ace. And when I saw the contract, I said, okay, I'm not terribly upset as long as he could repeat, which I wasn't confident in. A guy with a 4+ ERA for his career, 8 years in the league. It's not like all of a sudden he's some spring chicken.
Bingo.
So you have Manaea making 25 next year, Senga making 15, Montas making 17.5. You have more than Juan Soto's entire year's salary locked up.
Yeah.
Just in those 3 guys. But that's where I say this.
Yep.
Does David Stearns say, oh, shit, I need to get it together. I need to make some big moves or Steve Cohen's going to fire me because I came in with some big expectations. And look, we gave him the year grace period. Don't forget, when we won 101 games, that was supposed to be we're going to compete for a playoffs. We're going to, we're just going to retool. I need a year to evaluate the organization. That happened. We gave it to you. We won a lot, increased expectations. Then the next year, you lose, 17 more games, 18 more games? This is the Mets now. This is not the Wilpon era. Unacceptable. But that's what also makes me fearful that he's going to do something stupid, like trade Nolan McLean for a Scooble. Because let's be real, BT, everybody is going to be in on that. The Dodgers, the Padres, potentially the Yankees, the Red Sox. It was reported today that they're 100% in line to add a frontline starter. They're going to be involved. Never count Philly out. You hear the stuff with the Marlins are wanting to spend to compete next year. They could be involved. I mean, there's a lot of teams that could be involved where Stearns says, the only way I get this guy is if I throw Nolan McLean in there. And don't forget, we traded Michael Fulmer for Yoenis Cespedes. Yeah, it worked out, so we re-signed him. But Michael Fulmer wins Rookie of the Year the next year. We could have used him.
Okay. All right. So now, not to defend Stearns because this is a huge year for him. Sure. You hit a lot of things this past year. Let's go back to his first year very briefly, and then I got to get something on Cohen here for you. So Cohen/Stearns, that dynamic. So
no King Cohen slander on. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen, he's the prince. I mean, you got to wear the crown. You got to freaking win.
I will not stand for King Cohen slander. No.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll tell you, the day that Soto went to you guys and Sal comes in with the freaking scepter.
One of the greatest days of my life.
I was laughing. I just sat there. I'm like, yeah, listen, I'm not going to say a word. You got him. You took him. You won. Like, I had a man up. That was funny. All right. So, but the year before, Stearns very astutely went out and signed Iglesias to a minor league deal. Okay. And Iglesias that year, as you well know, had a 400 average in Queens, which was the Mets' all-time home batting average record. Check. All right. So under the radar move. Now we signed Wendell, right? For $2 million. Didn't work out. Got rid of him. Signed Montas.
Madrigal.
But it was,
oh my God.
Yeah, but it didn't matter because it was $2 million. Then he got rid of him. Then he signed Minaya, and it did work out. So there were some hits in year one, to be fair. Here's the difference now. The big ticket things, both last year. Do you think that, let's just be honest, do you think that David Stearns had anything to do with Juan Soto coming? Does anybody really think? The answer is unequivocally no. That's when Steve Cohen, when Alex Cohen got involved, and Alex Cohen's dad personalized it, and they flew out there, and then they came with the money and the suite, and we could do this. That was all Cohen. That was nothing with Stearns. Last year, we just talked about this. Why do we think that Pete was back so late? Well, because we all believe that Cohen felt the pressure of the fans and rightly responded to it. Now, I wouldn't respond to it again now, but last year it was okay. So I think the reason was Pete was back, despite Stearns not wanting him, was because Cohen said, we're getting it done. So really, if you think about, now Pete had a great year. Soto had a terrific offensive year. The other things that Stearns actually did, what the hell worked out? He was an F.
Helsley, Castillo. How about the trade deadline? Look, we all loved it, but Helsley is BT. He single-handedly cost us 7 games? The playoffs are gone right there.
He was terrible. And you brought up something interesting before. And listen, this is why anybody who thinks I'm a Yankee homer is nuts. I crush Cashman, right?
Sure.
But one thing he does really well, and I do. One thing he does really well is finding bullpen arms and doing things that are smart. So unlike the Mets who made all these moves and now all those guys are gone, the guys the Yankees brought in have controllability. Bednar's he's back.
What a deal. What a deal.
So, it's you saw
Cashman, here's the thing. Stearns did a lot of this stuff in Milwaukee. We got to give him credit. He built that team. And one thing I have to say positive about Stearns, I'm a Stearns guy. This Mets minor league system, and I know it's minor leagues, but we were like 23, 24 for 5 or 6 straight years. ESPN's got us number 1 as of last year. And a lot of Baseball America, anywhere from 5, 6, 7. But that should give you the ammunition to make the deals that you need to make. Listen, we all know Carson Bench is untouchable. I've heard that since last spring that he was untouchable.
He shouldn't be, though.
I know.
Scooble? Come on.
Look, I agree with you. I don't think you need to include him, but I'm talking about you want to add a Byron Buxton. That's the kind of player they're probably going to want back in return. They're going to say, wait a sec, we got this guy 3 years, $15 million a year, BT. I mean, that's chunk change nowadays. And maybe you add a Joe Ryan in there, but they need to address at least 2 starting pitchers, in my opinion.
Agreed. They absolutely must here. Now, listen, it's funny. Sal didn't have a lot of interest. To me, I don't know, and that surprised me. I don't know why Met fans wouldn't be a little bit more pumped up about Schwarber. Go and get him. Why?
Because you know what, BT? You know what it is? Let's look at his stats. A guy who, look, he could wreck games. I get it. But he's like a 200 hitter. I mean, look, it could play in the postseason, but how many strikeouts does he have, too? And another thing, too, how old is Schwarber right now?
32.
Okay, so you're going to – so Kyle Schwarber, okay, so he's 32. He'll be 33 before the season starts.
I know, opening day, yep.
So now you're going to have to pay this guy. I mean, I see the projections, 4 to 5 years.
4 years. Yeah. I'm not saying it's perfect.
Let me ask you this. Right now, you're the Phillies owner. You just traded your entire minor league system for a closer last year. Now you're going to let this guy walk out the door?
Well, I wouldn't. But think about this. Let's not be inconsistent here. Now, if you still value batting average, and I do, I'm kind of holding on to that, a little bit. Like I haven't completely. I mean, listen, if you're going to hit 212 or 290, like 290. I mean, that's basic stuff. But if you're on base 40-something% of the time, like Schwarber is, does it really matter what you hit when you hit 40 bombs?
I agree, and he's got a ton of walks too. I would add him.
I'm saying.
I mean, the perfect though. Here's the issue though. You got to choose your path. it's hard to say I'm not going to give Pete Alonso 4 years. I think Schwarber's going to get 5. I do. But let's just say, ready for that? Well, hear me out.
All right.
Schwarber's 32, will be 33. Pete's 31 this year. So how can you justify giving Schwarber 4 years and you can't give Pete 5, who's 2 years younger? I mean, I understand they're a different caliber of player, but Pete could still play the field if he has to. I mean, I think he's a okay first baseman. I'm not, he's not gonna. He'll make the routine play. That's
I know
what
you're saying.
at that. Schwarber, I don't know how much longer his bat's gonna be that great, and his entire game's his bat. I mean, that's one thing that scares me. The strikeouts, and I would be all for it, but how many DHs can you have? Brandon Nimmo, let's be real, BT. Okay, you want to give Schwarber 4 years? What are you going to do when Nimmo's leg falls off next year? You still have 4 years. That's something you need to consider. I mean, we keep talking about having the better team. The better team is Brandon Nimmo at DH, and then adding power somewhere else. I hate to say that, but that's just the truth. The power's got to come from somewhere else, whether it's Pete Alonso and you're adding another outfielder. There's just that's what scares me. We're talking about all this, and it's giving me a vast realization. And shout out to one of our followers, Goomba. If Stearns trades McLean, he's in my trunk. Yeah, I believe a lot of Mets fans feel like. Thanks for the super chat, bro. But
so
it's making me realize how many holes we have right now.
Well, that's the whole
and it shouldn't be that way year 3.
No, it shouldn't be. Now, to be fair to Stearns, he inherited Nimmo. Lindor's big contract was on the books. So was Diaz's, whatever. I mean, it's not like he came in with nothing and he was able to, he had to work around a few things. Now, I'll be fair. I'm not saying I love Schwarber for the Mets. I just wanted to have the conversation, throw it out there in case you lose Pete, whatever. One of the things, and I think you raise a good point, so I understand the pushback. One of the things that drives me nuts about the Yankees is the way they're built. And listen, we all love Stanton when he's hot in October, but from April through October,
he just doesn't play.
He's a nightly issue. And when he does play, he's got a DH, which means Judge can't get off his feet in right field. And Ben Rice isn't a great first baseman. You want him to DH a little bit. If Rice catches, maybe you want Wells to DH. So I get it. And why would I co-sign a similar situation with Schwarber, who would clog up the DH spot? Yeah, I'm just thinking for alternate paths if you lose Pete's power. But and Schwarber's not perfect. I'm not saying that.
The issue think about it right now. This is my last question, because I appreciate your time. We've gone over, and I'm sorry about that. I'm just loving the conversation.
All good, man. I'm having fun.
How do you I know you say you can't replace Pete's power, but where do you go for that? Look, every team does it now, walking Juan Soto. If you don't have somebody behind him, Soto, he'll get 150 walks, parade around the bases, steal 30 bags again. But who cares if you have, let's not forget, we've been screaming for 4 years, Jeff McNeil has been Pete Alonso's protection for 4 years, and I'm sick of it. It cannot be that way. Now, Pete Alonso, Jeff McNeil's going to be the protection?
No, Jeff's going to be
gone. Where are we
Jeff's
going?
Going to be gone. No. Jeff's going to be gone. Well, I mean, here's a thought. I mean, can your all-world catcher stay healthy and actually play a full season and do something?
Come to that. He can't.
Well, I mean, so that's a problem. I mean,
yes, I agree. That's why they're gonna bring Torrens back. And I hate to say that. I mean, Torrens is fine. Gold Glove finalist, very good defensively. I'll take that as a catcher, but
yes,
you gotta have to have power come from somewhere else. You can't have center field be a zero with power. We have the worst center field thing going on right now. Tyron Taylor hits 180, and I have David Stearns here shoving him down my throat yesterday at the press. Oh, we love Tyron. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me with this.
Don't take it. Stop. Don't take it so seriously. I think you got to understand. This is all posturing. Like if you're David Stearns, you come on, you're smart enough to know this. If you're David Stearns, the last thing you want to do is go out there and project desperation. Oh my God, we need a center fielder. All right, that's $20 more million in total for Bellinger. Or we need this. You just play the game. And again, go back to what I said to start the conversation. It's not what you say, it's what you do. And if the Mets start with a combination of, even if Benj goes nuts in Port St. Lucie, and Taylor in center field, that's a losing move. You just can't do it. It's unacceptable. Not with not with so many guys in their prime, like Lindor, like Soto, like a few of these other guys. So,
and if you bring back Pete, I mean, how many years are you going to get?
Yeah, I know.
You
They
really gonna
got.
ride with Harrison Bader again? You're gonna bring him back on another 1-year contract? That's what we're looking at right now.
I know. He hit better and he's a really good fielder, but that doesn't really excite me unless there's a lot of other bats around him. See, here's the thing. I'm gonna leave you with this.
Sure.
And I said this on the Fan today as well. I don't think there's much middle ground for the Mets offseason. Like, just to juxtapose it to the Yankees, because we touched on them a little bit. I think no matter what the Yankees do, they're going to be good next year. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series because they haven't done that forever, but you're going to have stud pitching. You're going to have Judge. You'll do something. You'll hit a lot of home runs. You'll be fine. You'll win 90-something games. You'll be a playoff team. So even if with an average offseason, Yanks will be good. I think the Mets offseason is either going to be phenomenal or awful. I don't think there's much middle of the road.
1,000%.
You know?
1,000%. But BT, I appreciate you giving us your time. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, turn those notifications on. We have a couple good guests booked in the future. Pat Ragazzo over at Sports Illustrated. He's got a great article coming out again. We're going to be having him on to break that down. We also have a couple players that are in the minor league systems who are going to be coming on throughout the offseason. Check out the Jet Williams interview that I did a couple weeks ago. Great kid. And he gives you an insight look at the analytics that the Mets are actually using to upgrade all these crazy advanced analytics that I actually did not even know existed. He talks about that, talks about how the Mets are going to be using him this offseason, prioritizing him as an outfielder potentially.
Okay.
Really interesting stuff there. So make sure you stick around, like, subscribe. As always, let's go Mets. God bless.
Yeah.